Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Terriers Talk podcast. And today we're going to be previewing Rotherham. We didn't review West Brom. It's first game of the season. We haven't, I don't think I don't think we previewed it either, to be honest. But hopefully that's not a sign of things to come, and we can continue or get some kind of form going. Obviously you were in Iceland, so meant that we couldn't record, but you're back in Manchester, so all is good now and we look ahead to the game on Saturday against Rotherham. So obviously we're both going to be there. What are your kind of initial thoughts about the game?
I'm excited to be back. Firstly, international football is boring when it has no meaning. Um, yeah, I'm really excited to be back and with a win under our belt, 3 whole points. And it's as you said, it's typical that our first one of the season. I wasn't there, you weren't there. I was exploring some volcanic crater when I got the notification that we'd scored. And I'm thinking, oh, it is typical. But no, I had a great time and Town won. So happy days. Yeah, really excited. Going to be a really tough game against Rotherham, um, who brought some very good players in, and 20th place, one above Town. It'll be a good game, and I'm quite confident. But we'll touch on that a bit later.
Yeah, I think I don't want to say things have shifted cataclysmically because they've not. Everyone still knows kind of where things lie and that things haven't changed overnight and over the international break. But going into the international break with a win under your belt is so huge for squad morale because then you've got something to build from coming back off that, and
Of course,
obviously
yeah.
players will train over the break and know that there's now a standard to go off after that game against
Yeah.
West Brom because we looked really good against West Brom in large parts of the game. So, and there are a lot of bright spells to talk about. And I think because we've not done a review for it, I think it's probably worth mentioning. Obviously, Bergzog looked really direct. Radoni was brilliant, I thought, throughout the
Redoni and
game.
Wiles, yeah,
Was
really,
yeah,
really
Ben
encouraging.
Wiles. I think it was a big thing, and I think that's something that I saw a lot of people saying after the game that Ben Wiles was exceptional all game, and that's I think some people even went as far to say was the O'Brien replacement we needed last year. So it bodes really well. It's only one game, so you can't judge him so early and whatnot. But
Yeah,
it's really positive signs to go into this game and playing his former club will be
yeah.
a perfect kind of
Childhood club.
reunion. Hopefully that ends with Wiles being happy with 3 points for his current club.
Yeah, yeah. No, hopefully, and really, as you said, very, very, very encouraging. Um, Looked like there was structure. We had a bit of a game plan for once this season, and the reaction of the team to have a goal disallowed, firstly by Radoni, which was a brilliant finish,
It was so
to
good.
go unbelievable, yeah, well done. To go 1-0 up, Bergzorg again, probably an even better finish. Which I mean, the way he took it and sat a defender, not quite sat him down, but just got him out of the equation and just fired it across goal, brilliant. To again be caught on the counter attack and concede, but then to score in the 90 plus, that we never do that, do we? We
No,
always say, "Oh, Town will take a point." I think the last time we probably did that was Sheffield United away
yeah,
when Colwell, when it 1-1, and then 2 minutes later it's 2-1, and I'm flying down the stairs at Bramall Lane. It must have been unbelievable to be there, and like you said, to go into the break with 3 points, massive, massive team morale.
100%. Yeah, I think there's just a bit of confidence, especially from that result, and I think that, like I was saying, nobody's kind of now looking at the system like the situation like we're going to go and win the league. I think everybody knows that we're not. But there's a lot more positivity around the things now, and there's a lot more kind of right. We've been through a very difficult run. You look at our games at the start of the season, absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
Norwich, Middlesbrough, games that we typically lose. I'm not speaking about
Leicester,
Leicester and
Plymouth.
Plymouth. Yeah, we know what's happened, but now that we've got 3 points, we've got 4 points on the board, obviously because of the Borough game. We're in a much better position. We're outside of the relegation zone, and it's starting blocks to build on, and that's something that Warnock will have been massive on over the break. You'd imagine that there's now something to look back on and kind of go right. This is the
Yeah,
moment where we've got things in our hands now. We can change
yeah,
it. We want to stay outside the relegation zone for as much of the season as we can, and be there. at the end of the season. So
Mhm.
I don't want to say it's a 6 pointer. Or I don't know. I need to think how I phrase this. I don't want to say it's 6 pointer already, but it's one of those games that will be looked back on at the end of the season
Of
as
course. Yeah,
that will
yeah.
be
No,
a
of course.
defining moment of the season. Obviously, Rotherham, with all due respect, have been like ourselves, linked with the bottom half of the table, linked with the
Yep.
relegation zone. So it's going to be one of them games where it'll probably quite scrappy. And is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
something that you're kind of expecting for Saturday, or are you expecting kind of the polar opposite in both teams to be going at it to the point where it's not scrappy?
Well, I think firstly, what we do need to kickstart our campaign is a home win.
Yeah,
Um, and I don't think there's any better game to do it. You know, you're coming back after the break. We've won prior to the break. I think Warnock did need a bit of time in the season to work with his players. It's always good to play however many games we played, 4 or 5 games, 6 in all competitions, whatever it is. The point is, it's nice to stop, look back at all the games, and think, right, this is what we need to do. So, in terms of the Rotherham game, I mean, if you look at their opening fixtures, they beat Norwich, we got battered.
yeah,
They've drawn to Blackburn, and they've lost to Stoke, Leicester, and Sunderland. So a quite tricky opening 5 games, scoring 7 goals and conceding 11. So I think regardless, there will be goals.
yeah.
Um, and they have recruited quite well. I mean, spending over 1 million on Sam Nom is in the Championship. Rotherham is it's putting anything we've ever done recently to shame. Whether he converts on Saturday, we'll have to see. But back to the point, it will be scrappy. I don't think anyone's going to doubt that because it's 2 teams who need to get away from the bottom of the table. Again, maybe Ben Wiles will have a bit to say prior to the game because that is his club, boyhood club. He captains. He is Rotherham, so he will know how they want to set up. He'll know how they operate, and I don't think there's any doubt he probably will win his midfield battles because that's who he's been playing with and training with every single day. So in terms of scrappiness, 100%. Um, I just think Town needs to find the net because we found the net 3 times last Saturday, 2 of them counted, and if we can build on that, I think that's all we really need to do because defensively we looked okay. Now we have looked very vulnerable on the counter attack this season. I think very evidently at Plymouth, where we were just quite honestly ran through. Midfield were non-existent. I saw the same at Leicester. Norwich, I think we'll gloss over that because that was just hell. But goals, 100% needed, and just to be really resolute at the back. But yeah, definitely a scrappy affair.
It's like what you were saying about the first win of the season at home. We haven't even had a point at home yet, unless
No,
I'm
no,
forgetting something.
no.
It's one of them where it's a Yorkshire derby. There's going to be it's going to be one of them games where tackles are flying in this, that, the other because both sets of fans will be wanting the bragging rights as such over a club that it's not a massive rivalry, but it's a Yorkshire derby, so it's
Well,
still
starving on the
something.
last,
It's
yeah,
something that
yeah, yeah.
counts. 3 points on the line. It's something that at the end of the season, like I've said, it's going to come back to, and we're going to look at this fixture and go, if there's 3 points, and even if there's a point in it, we're going to say right. Even if we're behind for the full 90 minutes, and it's a really scrappy affair, but it's a 1-1, you look back on it and go, right, at least we picked up a point against Rotherham or something
Oh
like that.
yeah,
It's
cool.
one of them games where you can't have, it's a must not lose pretty much. So I think surely Warnock's got to kind of stay with the same system that was against West Brom, and that was a 5 back, which is something that me, you, and a lot of other people have been calling for at the start of the season. That instead of playing the 4, we looked slightly better in a 5 at the end of last season, and playing the 5 against West Brom, while we did obviously, like you say, look a bit vulnerable from the counter attack, for their goal, we still looked quite defensively sound.
Yeah,
Lee Nichols was exceptional as always. Hogg was
you're
great.
brilliant.
Wiles was
Yeah,
great. I believe Matty Pearson was good as well.
yeah, yeah.
It's been a while, so if I'm thinking things wrong, then I do apologise. But starting a 5 surely got to be the same thing again. And the kind of question then, if we do start in a 5, is do you see Diarra come back into that lineup? Do you see Sorba come back into the squad?
Yeah,
I
no,
think
that
those are
was a
big
that was a
questions that
very
have to be asked.
notable. I'm gonna say that was a very notable omission. Both him and Tom Edwards, who had an absolute howler against Norwich, and were seen arguing up and down that right hand side. Warnock's not having it. And you know what? I think with such a character like Sorba Thomas, I think everyone knows it. He's a massive, massive personality. Whether that's positive or negative, I think it kind of goes in between with Huddersfield Town fans because we know what he's like. But back to the point, that is brilliant. That's what we need. We need someone who says, I don't care how good you are, how good you think you are. If you don't put 100% in or show the attitude I want in my team, you're not playing. Now, to drop them both is bold. To win with them not even in the squad, does that speak volumes? I don't know. Because it's one game, and I think both Edwards and Thomas, they're very up and down. Especially, I mean, Edwards this season, he's played what? He's kind of featured in probably every single game, and I'm still not sure. With Sorba, I've not been sure for since he signed. But I mean, if it's not broken, don't fix it. And I think that is something that Warnock kind of lives and dies by. He is a guy who says if you 11 players are winning me games, I'm not gonna change it. So it will be interesting. I thought Headley looked quite shaky against West Brom. I managed to catch the opening 70 minutes of it before I went on my volcanic adventure. Um, and he did look very vulnerable. So it'll be interesting if he's replaced on the left hand side. I mean, there's plenty of options. We say it all the time. There's plenty of options for kind of left-sided centre halves or even left backs. Utah, it'll be interesting to see if he slots back in because he's been playing a lot in the B team games and he's been scoring. He's been doing really well, but again, that is B team football. So we'll see what happens there. And yeah, I mean, going back to what you said, formationally, I don't think he will change because kind of he's very structured. He's not like Pep Guardiola who will, change up a team every week and mess with everyone's fancy team just because he's Pep Guardiola and he wants to because he's got the resources. We kind of don't have that resource. I wish we did, but we don't. So I think if we do find a system, we'll stick with it.
Yeah, 100%. I think there's a few things there. Like I think with Tom Edwards, I think there's definitely signs of a good player there, but I think it's
No, I
just kind
completely
of
agree.
building that confidence up because I think he's not really played consistently for a while, and he's still young. Like he's 24 years old. Like he's younger than Josh Koroma, which is
That's yeah,
that
that's
doesn't
yeah, that's
sound right saying
no,
it
it
doesn't.
doesn't. It doesn't. You've shocked me
Um,
there.
but that's one of them things that you need to kind of look at and go. You look at Josh Koroma 6 months ago.
Yeah, I
It was
know.
done and dusted for him pretty much, and then he came
Completely.
back and he's built himself up again. So, and the big thing about that everybody and their dog has mentioned about Josh Koroma is it's due to Neil Warnock. So if there's any manager that's going to get the best out of a player, it's going to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
Neil
Oh,
Warnock.
complete.
And who knows, in 6 months' time, he might be saying we've got to do everything in our power to sign Tom
Sign him
Edwards.
on a permanent. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So there's that, and I think with the situation now at wing back, especially if we do continue with the five going forward, is you've now got three players there that can fulfil that role of playing there. So you've got Edwards, obviously, you've got Sauber, you then got David Kasumu, who played there partially. I think he played there against Cardiff, unless I'm
Yeah.
mistaken, at the end of last season. And then obviously you've got Sauber.
Got Reg as well if he wants to.
Yeah, I personally I wouldn't bring him into the equation. I think there's probably you're better having more makeshift players out of Kasumu and Sauber than Tom
Yeah.
Edwards than you are having Reg in there because obviously he's more capable at right back and wing back. You've kind of got to have a bit more attacking responsibilities. So for me, anyway, I wouldn't put Reg into that equation and have him elsewhere in the pitch, whether that's at centre back or holding midfield. But again, that's a
Will do.
completely different conversation to have. But I think with Wiles and Kasumu, if you have them both in the same midfield, it kind of um, can ask questions then because then you've got Radoni, Kasumu, and Wiles potentially. So then it's kind of like, well, where does Hogg go? Because I think this season you've kind of got to make the most out of Hogg while you can, and then kind of build off the back of that. So letting Kasumu play at wing back gets a really combative player who will run up and down the line because it uses the most of his best trait, which is his engine. Everybody knows
Yeah,
David Kasumu is exceptionally good, stamina wise. Like he will run, chase, battle, tackle every single ball that
anything.
he
Yeah,
can
yeah.
for however many minutes there is in the game. Whether there's 10 minutes added on, 15, whatever, Kasumu will be there, and you've got a reliant player there who also isn't half bad at bringing the ball forward as well. So Neil's definitely got a big kind of decision to make there, and it'll be interesting to kind of see who he starts. And as well with what you were saying about Utah, it's a weird one because obviously Ruffles came off injured against West Brom, but I don't think we know how severe the injury is. I think they said it wasn't that bad, but then it kind of opens the question of Nakayama played well in the cameo that he got. Does he
Mm.
deserve a start? And personally, I'd say yeah. I think Nakayama's excellent. He's absolutely
Class.
brilliant, and he brings so much. He is a class above, I think, and he provides something completely different to our defense that we don't get from anybody else. Because you look at his range of passing, just
Yeah,
just start just starting there. His range of passing is
he's so progressive, and that's the
definitely
thing. I think the last progressive, or even remotely forward-thinking defensive player we had was Levi Colwill, and he
yeah.
is second to none. The progressive passes he will make for Chelsea, the way he was breaking the lines, even with Huddersfield Town, the way he would step out, even either take the ball himself or break the line with the pass.
Mhm.
I mean, world class, and he's class. Um, and I'm not by no means am I comparing the two. But it's kind of the same concept. Sorry, someone's racing past on a scooter. Um, yeah, it's the same concept. We need someone that is going to break the lines because then if you get it to someone like Kasuma or someone like Rodoni or Wiles, then that's just one pass and you got Kuroma who can cut in and do his magic. So that is something we need, and I think that someone like that and with that attitude and that capability will turn um maybe kind of stagnant play into progressive passes and maybe even into goals.
Yeah, 100%. I think that debate about who starts over Ruffles or Nakayama is one that will go on for a while because both bring something very different to the side, and I think either way, if you start them at left centre back, you then get a much better player out of Jaheim Edley because his best position is at wing back because he's got as much attacking freedom as he wants really, and then having somebody solid behind him means that he's got enough cover. So it's something that I'm really interested to see how Warnock kind of goes forward with it and whether Nakayama is given a chance to start because who knows kind of what he will be thinking. And I'm gonna kind of pose the question to you early on here, kind of what are you expecting to be the starting lineup on Saturday if you had to name your starting 11? Because there's obviously been a big talking point that we've not discussed yet, but I feel like it'll come with your lineup choices.
Um, so I think, wow, Ben.
Well, Nichols is
I,
in net. We'll
well,
we'll we'll go
yes,
from there.
Nichols, yeah, and you're going with a five, and I
Yeah.
don't think he will change that back line. Um, I think if he does make a change, it will be Headley
Okay.
because he didn't look too sure. And again, you could see Utah back in that lineup, which means Ruffles moving out to left wing back. Midfield wise, Ben Wiles, you bet your house on it. He will start. Um, Hogg, he looked all right. I was quite, it's just a Hoggy performance, isn't
You
it?
know what you're getting with Jonathan Ogg,
Yeah,
don't you?
you know what
Really?
you're getting. It's so bread and butter. Rodoni, again, he was class above. I thought he was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Now, Bergzorg, obviously, brilliant.
Yeah.
Cromer was benched, wasn't he?
Yeah. It was
So
Rodoni. It was Rodoni, Hogg, and Wiles, and then Ward and Bergzog, I believe.
you're going to bring me on to my next one. Now, Kean Harrott providing an assist.
Yeah.
He was subbed on for Danny Ward, and he manufactured our winning goal. Now, does that speak for itself? Am I being too harsh on Wardy? But what you get in with Kean Harrott is a player who, when he's thrown on, or if he's from the start, I honestly think, I mean, Ward presses his absolute backside off, but with Harrott, you're getting that, and you're also getting chances.
Yeah,
And
something that
you,
Ward hasn't provided so far this season,
yes,
which is
exactly, exactly.
it's the brutal backbone of it, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It really is. Now, does he have the maturity? This is Harrott, by the way. We know Ward has the maturity. He's a top professional, but Harrott, does he have the maturity to lead the line in a championship side without someone like Danny Ward? Now, I think the only way to find that out is to give it a go.
Yeah,
And I honestly think he's ready because, again, like I said, he provided the assist, and without him, we wouldn't have got 3 points. It was brilliant to see his family, to see his dad in the away end, full of passion, which I love. But that is Harrod as well. You know, it's in the bloodline. There's passion there, and there's hard work and there's integrity. So you know what? I'd throw him in.
I think the question is there, and it's more than there if anything. Now I think
Yeah,
there's a
completely. Is
very
he?
serious case for Harrod to start, and I think Warner's got to kind of take a plunge on him. I think, like you say, though, the only thing is he ready to do that? Is Harrod ready to lead a line? But then
I mean, he's
equally,
knocking the door. He's knocking at the door, and I think he's about to knock the door down. To be
yeah,
fair, because
he's
I don't,
young.
I don't see what more he can do.
If he's young and he's playing well, which he is in the cameos that he has done, why do you not give him a chance? Because Keane Harrod very well could be the next kind of big player that Huddersfield move on. Um, he could develop into a however many goal season striker that Town haven't had in God knows how long as well. So
On time.
it's a big question to open, and it's all kind of it's not all up to Keane because obviously he doesn't get the say in it, but I think that position could be there for Keane to make it his own, and it's just kind of a case now of is he ready to do that, and does Warnock seem ready to do that? He's already been given a new contract, so the club are happy with how he's developing, happy with how he's progressing. Warnock's happy with how he's progressing, and Warnock seemingly loves him.
Yeah,
So it's just now the case of does he start? And I think what better time to start him than the lad's from Yorkshire, same as Wardy. He knows what it means. He's been at the club for ages.
a long time.
His debut was against Leeds a few
Leeds,
years
yeah,
ago.
class. You
What
know.
a time to get his first start against another Yorkshire
Yeah,
rival. So
yeah.
I think he's definitely got to be in the question for it. Whether and I think it'll probably go quite late on whether he does start or not.
I
So
really hope he does. I really hope he does.
he's a breath of fresh air in here. I think that's what a lot of Town fans want to see at this point in time because who knows, Harriet could start and do what he does for 70 minutes, could get a goal, whatnot, and then Ward could come on and do what Harriet's been doing.
Yeah.
It's one of them where we've kind of got to wait till Saturday and see what Warnock says, and I think waiting until Saturday is pretty much what we've got to do with everything else now. So I'm gonna hit you back with a question because you got me with it last time. Score
Mhm.
prediction. They say I've been
2-1.
horrible. I've done
No,
lineup
no,
prediction and score
I'm
prediction.
I'm confident. 2-1 Town.
2-1 Town.
Yeah,
That's
2-1
brave,
Town. Yeah.
and I'm inclined to agree. I think Town scored twice on Saturday, but I think we can. I don't think we concede. I think we win 2-0.
Wow. Okay. Oh, fingers crossed.
I
Happy
think
days. Then.
that'd be in my eyes it'd be the perfect result. So
Well, yeah.
it's positive going forward and it's defensively sound, which is two things that we've not been like completely sold by so far this season. So if we
Just a
put in
simple win would be
yeah,
simple win would be lovely.
just we'll stop it there. We'll just say a win would be
Just
nice.
a win, yeah.
Just a win. We'll do the
Yeah.
preview. We win. We'll do a review. Life will be good.
Yes.
There's no worry about a curse or anything. We're not jinxing
No.
anything. Just please win, Town.
Yeah, please.
And I think that pretty much wraps it up for us. So as always, thank you for watching. Please like and share. And if I'm not missing anything, Jay, we shall see you hopefully after a Yorkshire Derby win.